We're here on the magnificent northern suburbs beaches. Mate, this beach that we wormed at is just fantastic. It's curl. Now, all the beaches from Manly Beach to Barrenjoey are great for beach worming. Now, what you require is a bait that's going near on rotten. I prefer to use something that's salted, by the way, which is a salted fish. Salted pilchard, salted salmon fillet, salted striped tuna, bonito, tailor, anything that's oily. And when you salt it down, it becomes a concentrate. Therefore, it secretes a lot more smell. You put it in your sock that you don't want to use anymore, by the way, and that doesn't necessarily mean a sock that's got holes in it. A sock that you don't want to use. A length of cord up to about 1.5 meters. You create a loop in it, then you put that loop through the loop, put it around your left or right wrist, and you can wrap it around when you're beach worming. So now that bag is waved around when the wave reaches its full maximum and as it's starting to retreat. Now when the water's retreating, you'll notice the telltale signs of the beach worm itself, which is you'll see like a V in the sand. Now the V in the sand is because there's an object, which is either a shell or a small rock or a beach worm or a pippy, right? And you'll see the V in the sand as the water parts around that object. Now, if the object doesn't disappear, it's a rock or a shell. It's not alive, but if it does disappear, it's a beach worm, and that's what you're looking for. You quietly tippy-toe to the beach worm, wrap the bag around your arm, and you very gently feed the beach worm as it's popping its head up. It's waving its head around, looking for the smell that attracted it originally. You put the bait within less than 1 millimeter of its mouth, you let it grab the bait, then you lift up with your left hand. In my case, I've got the bag wrapped around the left hand. You do it the opposite side if you're right, if you're going to grab the worm with your left hand, obviously. And you lift up and you grab the worm. Have your fingers only so far apart as well, because you're not grabbing a cobra, by the way. You're just grabbing a beach worm. Have it only, say, 1 centimetre apart. Put your fingers in close, grab the worm firmly, twist, and pull the worm out of the sand.
Don't just go fishing, go hunting underwater. With Raymarine's superior high-fidelity chirp sonar vision, you'll never look at fishing the same again. You're already the predator above the water. Now go find your prey below it. Raymarine. Visit raymarine.com to get in on the action.
So now you've got your worms, you need the right gear. I prefer to use a 3-metre rod. Now the gear that I love using is a Wilson live fibre, 3 to 6 kilos, 10.5 foot, fantastic rod. It's got a light tip, it's got plenty of power in it. The Magnum is an 11-foot rod. That's roughly between a 3 to 4 kilo outfit, maybe up to 5 kilo maximum. That's an 11-foot rod, as I mentioned. Now I couple that with a 3000 ballistic dialer with 8-pound TD sensor braid, or any of your dialer braids, fluorocarbon line, Suffix fluorocarbon. Now an Alvy, most people know that I love my Alvies. A 55A or Star Drag Alvy is all you need. Try and avoid using those 6 or 6.5 inch molds. They're too heavy, too cumbersome. Even go down to a 5-inch Alvy, that will be fine. 8-pound line, 8-pound mono on your Alvies. So now we're on the beach, you go, where do you fish now? And it's funny, I see anglers that sometimes they'll turn up and they sort of look, they don't know where the actual structure is, and they look behind themselves and they go, no, I didn't fish there, and they walk a few more steps. I fished about here, and they cast out. And they're casting on a sandbank. Now, I know for a fact that they were probably there 2 weeks beforehand. There was a beach hole there, but they don't know what a beach hole or a sand flat is. They're just fishing it where they thought they fished 2 weeks beforehand. You must choose your structure correctly, otherwise it's a waste of time. Now your beach holes can vary. You've got your low tide beach hole, which is very deep, and you got your mid and high tide beach holes. So you're moving around obviously according to the actual tide itself. Now those deeper holes, you'll see darker water with white water on the outskirts. So to the left and to the right, you'll see breaking white water, and in the centre, you'll see the actual beach hole itself. That's a very obvious gutter. Now the ones that are actually a bit more perplexing, a bit more confusing, is the ones that actually got breaking white water. But you'll see the deeper, greener water in there. They're the holes that you fish during a mid-tide or the high tide period. Now those deep holes, you don't fish in those deep holes, they become too deep. As unusual as that sounds, it becomes too deep. There's not enough sand churning up in those areas, and the whiting will either come right in close, or they'll move to the shallow sections of the gutter, or they'll move out of there, they'll migrate from that hole to another hole, and they'll feed in those sections there, and that's the hole that you fish. So the hole that's too deep, it's perhaps over 2 to 2.5 metres of water. You move from there to another hole that's only around that 1.5 to 2 metres of water maximum, and then when that gets too deep, you move to another shallower hole, and that's how you find your whiting.
Unexpectedly compact, uncompromising reliability, unbelievably fuel efficient, unbridled power. Mercury has delivered a new range of 75 to 115 horsepower four-stroke outboards, unlike anything the world has ever seen. Unthink everything you know about four-stroke.
It is 10:15. By the time I rig up, it's going to be 11 o'clock. Who in their right mind would start fishing at a late morning period, literally in the middle of the day? This guy does, because I know better. I know that those fish are going to be there, the brim, the flathead, the whiting, in the middle of the day, literally. So don't be deterred from fishing the middle of the day just because it is the middle of the day. Look, it's a weekend. You go, oh, damn, the tides aren't right. I'm not going to go fishing this weekend, I'll go fishing next weekend. The following weekend when the tides are right, there's a big sea. You go, oh, damn, I can't get out there. Forget about that. If it happens to be a middle of the day high tide, put on your sunscreen, put on your hat, the right clothing, get your worms and get out there, and you'll be amazed and amused about the fact that you're actually catching quality fish in the middle of the day. You'll never again go, it's the middle of the day high tide, I won't fish it. Now you go, hey, great, middle of the day high tide, I can sleep in. Sunday, beautiful, I slept until 8 o'clock, had a brekkie, get out to the beach, catch your beach worms, commence fishing at 10 or 11 or 12, and you're catching fish and you're home during gentleman hours. That's what I call it, basically. And you're home mid-afternoon. You've taken advantage of that high tide period, or that run up to the high tide period, to perhaps an hour or two on the run out, and you've caught fish. Fantastic. Now, it's not going to match those days where you've got the high tide period on that low light period, which is dawn and dusk. Your fishing's obviously better, but it is very good. I've had plenty of outings where I fished in the middle of the day and done very well. There you go, that's my advice.